Cheers and slusha. I am Tom the Beer and Whiskey Whisperer for the purposes of this video anyway. Let me get this figured out real quick here for you. I've got two products I picked up, well, I guess 2 weeks ago now. It doesn't seem like it. Seemed like just yesterday. My wife and I went to Tulsa, Oklahoma, January 1st and 2nd. I guess it's been a little while now, now that we're more than midway through the month, but anyway, I picked up two products from Hochatown, Oklahoma. They had a distillery in Hochatown, so I picked up some whiskey at a liquor store in Tulsa. But I also found this beer at the same liquor store, which I didn't realize at the time was from Hochatown, crafted and canned at Mountain Fork Brewery, Hochatown, Oklahoma. It is 100% American owned and made. Mountain Fork Brewery Sneaky Snake Belgian style golden ale at 8.9%. Get that fixed real fast here. All right, let me set that down. Now you have my undivided attention. So let me show you this beer. It is absolutely gorgeous. It took me a little bit to get this going. I had this beautiful head initially. I've had one of these already. Belgian style golden ale, 8.9%. Doesn't give me any other information about it other than it says crafted and canned by Mountain Fork Brewery, Hochatown, Oklahoma. I kind of bought it not knowing anything about them or the beer or the brewery. To be honest with you, it was only $9 for the 4-pack, so it felt like a pretty good deal. It says Belgian style golden ale, but it almost feels like a triple, especially at that ABV, right? At 8.9%. To just be listed as a golden, it feels a lot like a triple. It's big and fruity with those characteristic Belgian yeast floral notes. I'm going to adjust my camera just slightly. There we go. Let me set that down, let that breathe a second. I'll show you the whiskey. I almost wish I only bought one product from Hochatown, and I really wish I would have bought more now that I know how good it is. Yeah, they had 3 different products at the first liquor store, and I bought the one I wanted, a single barrel, but boy, this stuff is so incredibly good. I wish I'd have bought another product from them. Hochatown Distilling single barrel straight bourbon whiskey. Our single barrel bourbon whiskey is handcrafted for mashing the finest corn, rye, and barley through fermenting, aging, and bottling. Every part of the process is done on site by hand, so it's not a label whiskey. This is at 60% or 120 proof. Let me show you that. The price wasn't bad either, to be honest with you. I'm kind of kicking myself for not buying a second bottle, but at the time I didn't know how good it was. Straight bourbon whiskey, Hochatown Distilling, was formed in the heart of southeast Oklahoma with the goal of producing the finest quality spirits. Yeah, they are rather amazing. I got to tell you, their stuff is impressive. I just poured it, well, I poured about 1.25 ounces, I guess I should say. It's about 1.25 ounces glass. So there we go. Using my hard rock glass here, typically used for rocks, but it works for neat as well, gives you room to breathe. You know, as popular and as trendy as wheated bourbons are, I'm kind of an old school guy. I do prefer a traditional bourbon that uses rye. Why is that, Tom? Well, because there's the reason rye was used in the first place. Corn is sweet, so use that rye, that spiciness of the rye balances that corn out. Now, what a lot of folks like about the wheated whiskey is, well, they're sweeter and they're softer. So the wheat softens the body, but it also adds sweetness, so it gives you a much sweeter whiskey. And I guess a lot of folks like that sweeter whiskey. I personally am not a fan. I don't, you know, I would never turn down a shot of Pappy, don't get me wrong, but I do think it's slightly overpriced and overrated because I think there's some traditional bourbons out there that I'd rather spend my money on. And I'm a big proponent of buying small. I mean, I love when I could find small distilleries like Hochatown. I mean, in Springfield here, I've got the Tiakida, so I buy those products when I can. There are some of the usual suspects, the names that you know that I buy upon occasion. But the truth is, I try to buy as small as humanly possible. As I look upon my bar cart here, I've got Hochatown, I've got Restless Spirits, I've got Switchgrass, Union Horse, West Bottoms, Tiakida, Lifted Spirits. I've got a lot of small craft distilleries, and it does kind of I don't know if it bothers me is the right word. It kind of just makes me scratch my head, I guess, that there are so many craft beer folks that want to say buy small, buy small, buy local, but won't do the same when it comes to their whiskey. It just I can't make that make sense. Always buy as small as humanly possible. As my wife and I have been learning about wine, I've been doing the same thing. I'm not going to the liquor store and buying all the names that everybody knows. No, I want to try all the small distiller or small wineries around me. Try to do the same thing with the whiskey. So when I go to some place like Tulsa or anywhere I go, I want to know what is local. And I walked into that liquor store and I said, "What do you have that's local?" He says, "Well, I don't have anything from Tulsa, but here's what I have that's just Oklahoma." And he showed me some products, and that's what it took. Man, this beer is nice. Yeah, again, they refer to it as a golden ale, but it really drinks a lot like a triple or trip ale, if you will. I'm not pretentious, so I tend to say triple. Well, some will say trip ale. It's a trip ale. It's a double. I say double and triple because I'm a working class American. But yeah, it does have those big fruity notes, a lot like a triple, but they describe it as a golden ale, so be it. But it is at 8.9%, and I didn't realize that when I bought it. To be honest with you, I just picked it up. I didn't realize the ABV. I wasn't really paying attention at the time, which is kind of strange because that's usually something I look for. But I was trying to find some local stuff to enjoy when I got back to the hotel room. I love this nose. It's a nice combination of sweet and spicy. Not overly sweet, not overly spicy. It just gives you that nice spectrum. I'm going to say some big brown sugar notes because you do feel some molasses. A lot of cinnamon, but you might feel some allspice, some nutmeg, even some ginger, possibly some clove, depending on your relationship with spice. Do like I'm picking up some dark cherry notes as well, as far as dark fruit notes. Did y'all see that? It's 120 proof. It's 120, and this thing is just so easy to drink. It just amazes me how complex yet approachable this whiskey is. You think 120 proof would be hot in some form, where you might want to add a little ice or some water to it. But man, this thing just drinks so easy, neat. I'm afraid to do anything else to it. I mean, uh, I mean, I'm curious what it would be in a Manhattan, to be honest with you, or even an old fashioned. But it drinks so beautiful, neat. I mean, gosh, it's just a gorgeous whiskey. See that? No face at all. It is just such an easy. I mean, I wouldn't have if somebody just handed me this whiskey and I didn't see the bottle or anything else. If I didn't know the proof, I would have not thought this was 120 proof whiskey. It just drinks so. Oh gosh, it's just amazing. The flavors are just so gorgeous. That rye just balances out that corn so beautifully. Everything just comes together so well. Yeah. And I used to always, I haven't done it for a while. I kind of quit doing it, but for the longest time, I always did. When I had a brand new whiskey, I would always do a rocks or an eaten a rocks. And I haven't been doing that because I haven't really been feeling the need for rocks lately, to be honest with you. I would rather have it neat and then try it in a Manhattan, you know? Oh. I wasn't sure what I was going to do for this video, so I started looking around what I had. I said, oh yeah, let's do the two from home because I was actually looking for something else. And but this is the first beer that popped out in the fridge. I said, oh yeah, let's do that because I was going to go a different direction completely. So let's do the two Hochatown products. So I had two Springfield Brewing Company beers earlier. So I'm trying to keep it, I was trying to theme it, right? So now I've started a theme. I did two from Springfield, two from Oklahoma. Now I got to come up with a different theme for the next video. But set that down for a second. Pick this whiskey back up. Yeah, the first liquor store I went to had three products from Hochatown, and I just bought the one because I bought two other Oklahoma products. But gosh, if I knew how great this whiskey was, I would have bought another bottle, at least another product from this distillery, because they are just incredible. I mean, I'm telling you, this stuff is just amazing. Hochatown Distilling, single barrel. Oh, man. They don't give me an age. It does say, well, no, I take that back. It does say aged at least 45 months in new charred American barrels. So 45 months. Let's do some math. Let's do some math. That's how I've been drinking now. So at least 45 months. So let's see, 4 years would be what? 48 months. So it's not quite 4 years. So it has to, so let me show you that there. So it has to be typically what is it 2 years? Has to be at least 2 years to be considered bourbon. This one is just shy of 4, or at least just shy of 4. It's at least 4 years. But I will tell you, a lot of folks get too hung up on age. Bourbon is a different animal, right? When you talk about Scotch in particular, the older the better. When you talk about Irish whiskey, kind of the same thing. But bourbon really is a different animal. Bourbon doesn't need to be aged 21 years. A 21-year-old bourbon isn't necessarily better than an 8-year-old bourbon. It kind of depends on a lot of things. It kind of depends on the mash, the distillery, and how it's aged. A lot of these small, now I don't know how Hochatown how ages, I don't. But I know a lot of smaller distilleries will use smaller barrels, so you get that aging process a little quicker, or they'll add staves, which again helps you get to that process a little quicker. The bottom line is older isn't necessarily better. That's why I do prefer to spend my money at these smaller distilleries. When I buy a product like this, hey man, I feel good about that rather than spending the money on the big guys. Where a lot of bourbon or whiskey guys tend to be lemmings. As soon as somebody says, "Well, this is allocated," everybody wants to buy a whiskey that's that everybody's had and pay twice as much for it, or three times as much, or four times as much. I mean, the truth is, a $30 bourbon is always going to be a $30 bourbon. If you choose to spend $120 on a $30 bourbon, well, you're an idiot. Well, I've never had it, Tom. Well, so what? There's other stuff on the shelf. Tom, if you never buy on the secondary market, there's things you're never going to have. Well, I'm okay with that because there's things I'm going to have that that are on the shelf right now that some of you might have missed because you're too busy being lemmings buying stuff you really don't need on the secondary market. Then again, I will be honest and say I don't understand that collector mentality. I don't have it. I've never had it. I don't buy things to collect. I don't buy things to resell. I've never done that with anything. Which, I mean, as a kid, I collected baseball cards. If I'd have been smart, I would have collected them to resell. But anyway, that's a story for another day. But I don't have that mindset. I don't have that mindset. I want to buy this so I know what it's worth later. I don't have that mindset. Anytime I buy a good beer or a good whiskey, I'm thinking about drinking it at some point. There's nothing I've ever bought that I thought, well, I'm going to buy 2 bottles and sell one later. I can't make that make sense. I know I'm a terrible capitalist. I've been told that before. You're a terrible capitalist. I once had a boss told me that he doesn't know what to do with me because he can't motivate me with money. And he says, I've never had an employee that I can't motivate with money. I'm not sure what to do with you. It's a true story. I took it as a compliment, although I know he didn't mean it as one. I don't, I guess, I don't understand the mentality of, uh, Randy Newman, the king of satire, had a song called "It's Money That I Love." It kind of makes fun of that capitalism gene. How people will sacrifice their morals and then claim to be moral. Sacrifice their morals for money, then claim to be this upstanding human being later. Yeah, but I go to church. Yeah. Well, anyways, I digress. This stuff is amazing. It really is. I've been trying to limit myself because I've only had this bottle a couple of weeks, so I'm trying not to drink too much of it. But it's just so incredibly tasty. I'm having a hard time not. That's why I only allowed myself that ounce and a quarter pour up. My Hard Rock shot glass here, but I know this holds an ounce and a quarter, not a solid ounce. So that's all I'm allowing myself because this stuff is just so beautiful. I mean, have you ever seen 120 proof whiskey that easy to drink? I mean, tell me. Anyways, anyway, I digress. As I sit in this nice little cabin behind me, no, I'm just kidding. I'm not. It's just a background, man. It's just a background, but I try to set a mood, and we're in a little cozy place, nice fire. Sometimes I like to put a bar seat behind me if I'm doing a cocktail. Anyway, I digress. This beer is nice. It really is. Wow. Belgian style golden ale. I wish it gave me more information about it. Like I said, for me, it drinks more like a triple or a triple, if you will. Especially at that ABV, a big golden like this at 8.9, you would naturally jump to the conclusion it's a triple. But regardless of name, it is very good, man, because it has those big fruity notes that those floral characteristics that you expect from Belgian yeast. I got a burp right there. Oh, excuse me. I knew that was coming. Ah, mercy, Percy. That's a nice beer, man. So yeah, I'm gonna have to uh, figure out a way to get there one of these days because I really like these Hochatown products. Anyways, I digress. I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and excuse me, that's gonna hurt later. That's gonna come at me. That's gonna haunt me, man. I am Tom the Beer Whisperer, beer evangelist, prolific beer drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and all right, good guy, Sláinte.